diversion. It's all
Jamaica. Make we do the right thing. Make we live good today for a better tomorrow. Talk it out. Don't fight it out. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
6:30.
The government has a well-established child diversion program to help youngsters who find themselves in conflict with the law to get a process of reformation going, to rehabilitate themselves and to rejoin society through the formal school system. So why are more of these youngsters not getting accepted back in the formal school system after they've completed their process of rehabilitation? We're going to discuss that issue today on Lead Story here on CVM TV, along with the issue of what the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, the IACHR, has to say about declining press freedom in Jamaica, consequent upon some prominent attacks against journalists in the recent review here. All these Lead Story today, CVM TV. Let's go. Welcome to Lead Story here on CVM TV. My name is George Davis. So we're talking about the issue of child diversion today, and usually it's not an issue that you hear front and center on significant programs like this one, but we feel that it is necessary given the fact that the youth are responsible for so much crime. The youth are disadvantaged so often, and it's the young people that we're going to bank on to drive the developments and the progress in the future. What is true is that child diversion measures have been proven to work here in Jamaica, and the child diversion program has been accounted for by the Ministry of Justice, and they have done some good work. But what we're hearing is troubling, that several of the children who are exposed to child diversion programs, that after the process of reformation is complete, they struggle to get acceptance back into the formal school system. And when we talk about child diversion, it simply means that where a child finds himself, him or herself in conflict with the law, rather than be submitted to a process where they face criminal trial, where they are criminally charged and have to go to a court of law to answer to those charges, instead the child is exposed to an alternative program where they make repair for the crime or for the infraction that they're involved in, for the wrong that they have done, to put it more accurately. And then there's a process to try to purge that kind of behavior from their system, to show them an alternative way to live their lives and to deliver a better child at the end of it. A child, of course, according to the legal definition here in Jamaica, anyone under the age of 18 years. And so those are the children that the program is designed to cater for. A practical example, if a child breaks into a shop and steals money or steals goods, rather than sending that child to a police station to be charged for larceny, breaking and entering or related charges, the authorities, whether the court or the police, will say to the victim, the proprietor, do you want to send this child to a facility where their behavior can be corrected, where the errant nature of their ways can be pointed out, where they can get the coping tools to lead them away from a life of crime? And if the victim agrees, and of course the child agrees, who's at the center of this issue, then the child goes into a program of child diversion, and they get a chance to clean their slate and move on in the future. So that's effectively what child diversion is. Rather than make criminals of children, criminals of errant children, criminals of children who find themselves in conflict with the law or with the established order, you put them through a particular course of action to give them a chance of moving away from that, from shedding the skin of crime that they are threatening to develop in. And that's simply what it is. After the break, we're going to deal with that issue. And first up, though, we're going to talk about the IACHR and what they say about declining press freedom here in Jamaica. This is Lead Story.
Schoolboy Football, September 7 to December 14 on CVM TV.
No more fear of missing out. CVM TV News is on YouTube. Get up-to-date news, sports, and business content at CVM TV News anytime, anywhere. Subscribe now to CVM TV News to see it happen.
I'm Celine Gordon, host of Holy Road.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your boy John Mark Wigan, host on the show Holy Road. Listen, people need to know what's happening in the churches and in ministry in all of Jamaica. It's an absolute blessing. We're really excited to share this.
Tune in to CVM, see it happen.
Welcome back to Lead Story here on CVM TV. Now, the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights published a report, its annual report, looking at various matters concerning human rights in Jamaica and around the world, well, around the places that its tentacles spread through. And Jamaica, one of those countries. What is true is that they've found what they say troubling signs that press freedom is on the decline in Jamaica. They cited the much publicized shooting at the offices of Nationwide News Network on Bradley Avenue in Kingston. 4 shots fired into the parking lot last year. You would have heard of that story. They pointed to an incident at the headquarters of the opposition PNP on Old Hope Road, where a journalist was rebuked and threatened because of the color clothing that she and her colleagues chose to wear to the PNP headquarters to cover a press event. And I wanted to even correct myself. They didn't choose to wear those colors. They had on the colors. They were sent to the press event. They went there and it caused a problem and there were threats issued. Also, the issue of a journalist at Homestead Primary School in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, having the camera knocked away, taken away by a ruffian. And that was a police matter, escalated to a police matter. The police say the gentleman involved was killed in a shooting incident days later. So all those incidents have given the IACHR cause to opine about the state of press freedom in Jamaica, and beyond opining, it has formed a verdict that press freedom is on the decline. And I wanted to hear from the government's perspective if it believes that the IACHR is correct and what it believes that it can do to assist with arresting the decline in press freedom, if it believes, like the IACHR does, that that is on the slide in this country. And I've invited to the discussion Parliamentary Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Senator Abka Fitzhenley, for this conversation. Good afternoon, Senator. So good of you to join me here at short notice.
Good evening to you, George, and good evening to the listeners, or the viewers, I should say, of CVM TV.
Thank you, sir. All right, so where this IACHR report is concerned and what they've had to say about declining press freedom, your view on their perspective?
Well, I want to begin by saying the government of Jamaica takes very seriously the issue of enabling an environment where freedom of the press prevails, and we believe a lot of work has gone into that process. And it is the view that the majority of instances, the media is able to operate in an environment where they are free of harassment or any impediment that would cause them to be discomforted in conducting their work. That's a view of the government of Jamaica. However, we are aware that there is significant room for improvement, and we continue to open the channels of communication with the various stakeholders, including the key stakeholder, that is the media, towards enhancing the environment and making it more conducive to press freedom. So we believe, we are confident that significant work has been done, but much more work is to be done. That being said, I am not surprised at the findings of this international body based on a few incidents which transpired, which I believe were unfortunate. I note in one incident where a TV cameraman was attacked. It is good that an individual has been taken into custody, and there is some accountability in that regard. I have another point that I wish to make on the matter of accountability, but I'll pause for now.
You know, Senator, as a journalist of many years' experience yourself, you know the minefield that operating in the Jamaican media space can become. Even though, as you would acknowledge, I'm sure, that for the large part, there are not many encumbrances, if any at all, in the day-to-day work that journalists perform. But there are certain times of year or during certain hot-button issues in the public domain where the environment becomes more fraught and becomes a little dangerous. There is a perception outside Jamaica from the people who staff these international bodies that some way, somehow, the state can just at any time turn against the journalist and make it difficult for the journalist to operate in Jamaica. Has that been your experience when you were a journalist? Is that your reality now that you're a part of the legislature?
No, that has not been my experience. Yes, there have been incidents where you might have apprehended discomfort based on words said or actions taken. But generally speaking, I think it would be unfair to say that the environment is one where the state may turn on a media practitioner, a journalist, and there are no repercussions or you apprehend significant fear in terms of conducting your duties. And I believe I'm well placed to speak on that. I mean, I've been to the headquarters of the PNP, and stones were tossed in my direction when I was at the time investigating a matter and doing stories concerning it. I've covered court matters and had menacing words sent in my direction. But I would not use those few incidents to say that I generally, during my 10-year career in media, or just over a decade, operated in an environment where the state could operate at large in terms of suppressing journalistic endeavor and investigation. I should say, though, George, pertaining to the report at hand and the findings or the observations made, I'm not surprised at it. As a matter of fact, two incidents were alluded to. One, at the headquarters of the opposition PNP, when two journalists, as you indicated, were intimidated and menacing words sent in their direction concerning their clothing. And I believe mention of sexual assault was made with a female journalist in proximity. This on the compound of the people's of the PNP. Another incident where the PNP General Secretary, Dr. Dayton Campbell, alluded to a radio station in a particular light which would turn supporters of his party against the station or cause them to, and I use the jargon, treat the station in a particular way. In September of last year, you might recall, George, I had used a public platform to urge the PNP to back off the media and to not damage Jamaica's press freedom reputation. That was approximately a year ago. And I did so because I am acutely aware that when operatives of a political party conduct themselves in such a manner, it will only adversely, it is likely to adversely affect Jamaica's reputation in the eyes of the international community. It's not a happy day that this has happened. I'm not happy to be proven right, but I'd like to renew my caution to the PNP to reassess how it interacts with the media. I believe they should do so, or do so timelessly.
Hear you on that.
It cannot be business as usual.
Hold the line for me, Senator Fitzhenry, speaking with Parliamentary Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Abka Fitzhenry, consequent upon a report published by the IACHR where the organization says it's concerned by declining press freedom in Jamaica, and it cited specific incidents in the previous year, which it says has given it cause to pass this verdict on the state of press freedom. More on this issue after the break.
The time by Grace. Taste that moves you is
6:45.
no more fear of missing out. CVM TV News is on YouTube. Get up-to-date news, sports, and business content at CVM TV News anytime, anywhere. Subscribe now to CVM TV News to see it happen.
Bollywood has never been this good. Catch Made for Each Other weekdays at 12:30 p.m. on your drama station. Brought to you by
Hyundai.
Hi, I'm Celine Gordon, host of Holy Road.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your boy John Mark Wigan, host on the show Holy Road. Listen, people need to know what's happening in the churches and in ministry in all of Jamaica. It's an absolute blessing. We're really excited to share this.
Tune in to CVM. See it happen.
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winfred Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
Welcome back to Lead Story here on CVM TV. So in case you are saying to yourself, well, why are there so many incidents involving the opposition PNP being mentioned in this discussion? That's only because those incidents were mentioned by the IACHR in their report. There's not an incident that has been brought up here, certainly in Senator Fitzhenley's contribution so far, or even in my opening remarks, that were not referenced specifically in the report of the IACHR. And, well, we're discussing it, and that's the reason for the mentions. I want you to speak though, Senator Fitzhenley, to this issue that I consider to be a fact, and that is Jamaica's press freedom ranking over time. And this is outside the measurement of the IACHR. I'm talking specifically about the measurement of Reporters Without Borders, which publishes the annual press freedom rank. And there have been heady days for Jamaica. Certainly, when I served as Press Association of Jamaica president, our rank never fell below 8. We were as high as 6 in the world at once. We were 8, we were 12. We were very prominently placed. And this can only happen if governments over time create the environment for the press to be so free to do its job. So I know you wouldn't disagree or balk at the suggestion that both PNP and JLP administrations over time have done significantly well to create a strong environment for the press to work freely in.
I'd certainly agree with that assessment. Certainly administrations in the past and the current one, I'd say, have fostered an environment that is conducive to the media doing its work without fear or intimidation, seeking to fetter access to important corridors. Sure, we have had the odd incidents over the past many years across successive administrations. However, Jamaica's enviable reputation over the years, in terms of press freedom, as measured by groups including our bodies such as Reporters Without Borders, is due to the good work of various administrations. Certainly we have done well compared to many countries across the world, and I dare say in the region. I think, George, that the current adverse direction in which the assessments have gone in terms of press freedom. A few years ago, I believe the barometer by which press freedom was measured by one significant body, international body, was adjusted, which saw us suffer decline. That's one. And the second point is, I believe the current decline and adverse assessment, well, the document speaks for itself. A number of incidents involving the conduct of PNP operatives contributed heavily to that. And I'd invite the PNP to take accountability for that and ensure that going forward, it doesn't happen again.
Yes.
I want to make a quick point, though.
Yes.
I believe that there is need, and certainly having spent time in media and now in the political field, I believe there's need for sensitization among the political establishment. And I speak about government and opposition, about how to treat with the media, one. And two, when you mistreat the media, the implications or the effect it is likely to have,
yes,
not just on a particular media worker, but an entire group of people. For argument's sake, when a political party, the PNP, their agents go on a platform and they call one station Jail PFN, a station that broke the Dudu scandal, a station that would have done a significant body of work that caused significant discomfort to senior members of the Jamaica Labour Party. But a politician from the PNP goes on a platform and they call that media entity Jail PFN. I think sensitization would contribute to these emissaries of the PNP understanding that when you do that, you effectively are putting the lives of the journalists in danger, because their response to perceived bias, what they perceive as bias,
yes,
will not necessarily be the response of the card-carrying supporter of the party,
yes,
in various communities across the country,
yes,
who will resort to strong-arm tactics in targeting any emissary of that entity.
yes.
I, as a member of the Jamaica Labour Party, perhaps have strong reason to feel that there are entities in the media space that you will never get an editorial in support of the Jamaica Labour Party. The stories appear significantly biased against the Jamaica Labour Party. I know the antecedents of, because I used to be in the belly of the beast, I used to be in media, of some of the scribes who write these stories. But because I'm sensitive to the impact that you can have on the lives of members of an entity, I would never go on a political platform, George, and condemn a particular entity or a particular journalist and label them X or Y.
Yes.
Even though I perhaps have information where I could so do. I would never do it,
yes,
because I'm sensitized to the impact you can have,
yeah,
the adverse impact you can have on the lives of an entire group of media practitioners,
yes,
when you so do. I encourage the PNP to do better.
Let me ask you this then, quickly, in the last question for you. One of the senior figures in media, Dr. Claire Grant, leader at the RGR Gleaner Communications Group, says that perhaps it is that we should discuss legislating the protection of media workers on the hustings, because the situation now, she says, is getting out of hand, and you don't want to wait until something worse than what has happened so far happens before you say, legislators need to do something to put that protection and the rules of engagement into law. What's your perspective on that?
I would never oppose such a push to have legislation seeking to provide an additional layer of protection to media practitioners, because in as much as we expect and hope for fair professional work from the media fraternity, the fact is the media is so crucial to the democratic processes of any country that providing an extra layer via legislation to ensure that the environment that they have is conducive to them doing their work would be a good step. I have no opposition or no comments to make which would oppose the suggestion made by Claire Grant.
Hear you on that. Senator Fitzhenley, thank you very much for joining us again at very short notice. We appreciate your contribution, and we're going to try and see if we can get from the PNP their response and their reaction to the IACHR report, which names the PNP, which names incidents which happened at PNP headquarters and involving PNP officials as giving cause to the country to slide down the perception of press freedom rankings. Thank you very much for your time.
Good.
Parliamentary Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Abka Fitzhenley there, Senator Abka Fitzhenley. So here's the thing now. For 5 years, I served as head of the oldest and most respected press association in this part of the world. I served with pride, and I served with some good men and women. And what is true is that press freedom, near and dear to my heart before my stint, but even more so after serving, hearing the stories and getting inside track on some of the things that my colleagues go through to do this work on your behalf. I address myself as your personal journalist, and I take that role very, very seriously. I want to be free to do the work on your behalf. What is true is that sometimes the rhetoric on the political hustings gets ratcheted up so much that men and women lose their reason, and rather than skillfully train their anger, vent their spleen at their political rivals, it is us that are seen as the soft touches, the easy targets, and we get labeled, we get branded. And official from party X or official from party Y is not by themselves going to approach us and do anything to any individual, but the morons who follow these political gravy trains looking for bread back and chicken bone and chicken skin to be tossed aside so that they can eat. They are the ones who will come to somebody, step to somebody, and try to do something physically harmful to the journalist. That is why we have to draw a line in the sand. We have to say that that is a no-no. There should be protocols from the perspective of the political parties to tell their members how they hope and expect that they will engage, so that the minions are not fired up to do harm on their behalf, in their good name, in the name of their parties, in the name of these respectable and